And we are still continuing our coverage here at the Noosa Mining and Exploration Conference. I have a special guest with me now, Ian Macfarlane. He's the former Federal Resources Minister. He's now the Chief Executive of the Queensland Resources Council. He joins me now. Ian, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure.
I could not have a better guest to talk Australia mining with than you.
Oh, well, yeah, I've been around a little while.
Yeah, give us a little bit about the pulse of the industry right now, the sentiment you're feeling. It's booming here.
Yeah, as you know, it's a cyclical industry, and at the moment there is a quiet confidence, dare I say, and optimism. No one wants to talk about the boom word, but the industry is doing quite well, particularly gas and coal, but we're seeing strong demand even though prices are fluctuating a bit for base metals, so everyone's a bit confident about the future.
So that's on the positive side, but what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that miners operating here are facing?
Well, I think the biggest is energy costs, and Australia is in the middle of a big debate on energy, and obviously particularly the large coal miners are big users of energy, also processors of base metals and big users of gas and electricity. We are seeing a lot of concern around energy. Of course, activism, which we have a very big industry thanks to the Americans who send about $100 million a year here to fund activists in Australia. We're not sure why, but that is creating political issues for us. Regulations are getting higher.
So environmental activists?
Yeah, basically people who want to stop the industry, and that means we have to satisfy more regulations, which is good in a way because we can say we produce commodities at the best environmental standards in the world, but it just makes it that bit harder.
Australia and Canada are always battling it out for best mining jurisdiction in the world. What are some initiatives that you folks are doing to attract miners over here?
Well, we provide a lot of pre-competitive geo data, so Geoscience Australia and the state-based organisations. All that information's free, so all that pre-competitive geoscience is available, so that's an incentive. There are incentives to go out and actually physically explore, and the Queensland government runs a program, particularly in the Northwest Mineral Province. We are seeing, we have a very competitive international tax system in terms of offshore oil and gas, so that helps as well. But generally, I think in the end, why do people invest here? Because of prospectivity and because of long-term stability in a geopolitical sense. They know if they've got a mine here, it's going to belong to them right to the end. There's not going to be a change of government that means they lose that ownership.
And offline we were saying, despite the lackluster performance of gold and silver right now, that really hasn't turned investors away.
No.
At least here. It's a different story in North America, but why do you think that it's different?
I think if you look at base metals and things like gold and silver, people take a longer term view of that in Australia. They're also influenced by the fact that there are a lot of particularly Chinese companies investing in base metals. China sees 20 years as a short-term investment and 100 years as a medium-term, so I think that rubs off.
Yeah.
And I think that people here understand the cycles, so so the commodity dips down, it's going to dip back up. The main thing to look at is demand.
Finally, I need to ask you, with all this talk of pending trade wars and whatnot, do you see that having an impact on mining here at all?
I think there will be give and take in terms of trade, and it's always been difficult for Australia because we're massive exporters. We basically export 80% of everything we produce, including agriculture. So we'll work our way through that. Trade wars will cause fluctuations, particularly. We look at aluminium, that's going to be one of the commodities affected. But look, we'll just ride that through. Those things come and go.
Is there one commodity that Queensland plans to focus on more and promote more this year?
No, look, obviously the energy sector is very important, gas, thermal coal, but also, of course, met coal, because the demand for steel globally, we are the best producers of met coal in the world.
So it's like children, you love them all equally.
We love them all equally.
Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
And thanks for watching. We'll have more for you on Kitco.com. Thanks, Ian.